I'm Camilla Cho, Vice President of Business Development for Outside In. Apologies that Mark couldn't be here. He was really, really busy, so I'm going to try my best to substitute in for him at the very last minute. So you guys have heard a lot about this focus on hyperlocal with a lot of emphasis on efficiency and creating scalable models. And so with the publisher's desire to cover hyperlocal efficiently and the difficulties and challenges a lot of local publishers face, at Outside In, we definitely see a big need for technology and for solutions for publishers to help them make things efficient and scalable. So what we do is we provide curation products and solutions to make going hyperlocal a lot easier for hundreds of local publishers all over the country. So we are a hyperlocal aggregator of all sorts of different content. We are aggregating, organizing, and distributing all of this content. So our goal is pretty simple. Create and deliver editorial and advertising opportunities for every 57,800 plus neighborhoods across the USA. So how do we go about doing that? Kind of wrapped up in this visual model we have built out here. We start at the top in terms of where do we find content. We find content from three primary sources, three primary buckets. We have a small content team internally. We are a tiny but mighty team of 20 people, and we have a few people internally always making sure we have all the latest content in our content database. We also have tons of different publisher partners that are submitting their feeds, their RSS feeds, for us to aggregate and organize into neighborhoods. And then we also have a huge blogger community as well. That's kind of how Outside In got started, with aggregating thousands of local bloggers. So a lot of bloggers come to us directly, and they are submitting their content so it could be seen and distributed to major publisher websites like the Chicago Tribune or CNN.com. So from those three buckets, we're collecting all sorts of different types of content. Hyperlocal is not just news. It means Twitter and social data, as well as a lot of vertical and municipal data out there. So we have feeds from over 65,000 unique feeds right now. That content database continues to just grow and grow. We're covering basically every single mainstream news site, so every newspaper company out there, every local TV station company. We have all of their feeds in our database. We have thousands and thousands of local blogger content. We're also parsing Twitter data as well. All the geotagged Twitter data is also coming into the stream. And whenever possible, we're also collecting vertical and municipal data. So that's a lot of content. What we have built is an algorithm to go through all of these feeds, story by story, tweet by tweet, blog post by blog post, article by article, to algorithmically determine which geographic location it should be associated with. And so we are organizing into neighborhoods, place, whether it's a park, a school, a building, and we're also attaching a ton of other metadata, whether it's topic data, keyword data, category data. So you could pull up a specific piece of content, and we can tell you that this story is about this specific neighborhood within this city, within this borough, within this zip code, and it's about this specific place or address related to various different topics and categories. So we're doing that all algorithmically. So with each piece of content that gets geotagged, we're distributing all of that content back out. And so we're distributing it across a lot of different end users. We do have a core site at outside.in, kind of our testing grounds, if you will, for us to do a lot of testing. But most of our business is actually on the Outside In for publisher side. So we work with over 100 different local media companies, providing them with tools, APIs, dashboards, and white label portals for them to get access to all of this content and create a custom local experience that they want on their own site. And so the publishers can use our hosted sites, which is basically a white label portal for each neighborhood in your market. And then we also have an API for developers to take advantage of to slice and dice the content database in a lot of different ways. And then powering all of that is a curation dashboard, which has been in the market for about a year and a half now. The curation dashboard makes it really easy for publishers to curate all this content. So if you want certain sources in there, great, select those. If you want to suppress certain ones, whether it's your competitors' feeds or whether it's bloggers that you determine is not worthy of being on your site, we make that all very easy to do through a curation dashboard. So some of our publisher partners are featured here. So as you can see, we work with a lot of different local media publishers to help them power their hyperlocal experience on their websites and their mobile apps. So in terms of the industry, this is probably not going to be new to most of you at this point, but we see a lot of opportunity in hyperlocal, and we think the time is now. There's no other better time. Local content has really exploded, whether it is you tweeting from a specific restaurant, taking a picture of a plane landing on the Hudson. The definition of content has grown quite a bit, and there's a lot of content to be had out there. We could question the validity of it. We could question the journalistic integrity and the quality of it, but there's tons of content, and we believe that there is definitely a need for some organization and some curation on top of all that content. In terms of the audience, the users out there, there is an expectation, especially with the explosion in location-based services and all of your mobile phones being GPS enabled, there's definitely an expectation to deliver local, relevant content. And so we think that's also fueling the growth of hyperlocal. And then, as we've heard a lot in the press these days about the Groupons of the world, there's a lot of local advertisers coming online, and they're finding success, and they're also looking for hyperlocal quality inventory to put their advertisements against. So we see this as a big, big area where there could be very strong revenue potential, as we saw in Michael's slides just now. And traditional local incumbents are challenged. So there's a lot of opportunity for new entrants to come into the market, cover a new niche, serve to a newer audience via different apps, via different channels, and we think there's a lot of opportunities for the independent upstarts to come and find success. Making money in local is hard, as we all know. So we are just starting to work with publishers around revenue monetization on top of content. So in the very similar way that we are aggregating content and organizing and distributing all of that content, we're kind of doing the same with local ad network feeds as well. And so some of the challenge that we've seen is the local ad market is evolving very quickly. A lot of publishers just don't have the time nor resources to stay on top of all of the dynamics and all of the changes going on, and some of it's very, very complicated. It's also a highly fragmented market, and it is very difficult to achieve scale at the hyperlocal level. And so to address this, we're also working with publishers very much in the early stages right now, but we are starting to work with them on a local monetization solution and really focusing on aggregating and optimizing this fragment to local sources of ad networks out there. We're also talking to some national advertisers that are targeting local audiences and addressing the local publishers' needs. We work with tons of publisher partners, and when we help them address their content needs, the next set of questions is, okay, how do we monetize this? And so we see that there is a need for us to actually help with monetization, and we think the aggregate, organize, and distribute model could also be applied to the advertising world. Just wanted to end with showing our site. I'm just gonna go to a specific neighborhood here, which is the Upper East Side in Manhattan. And as you can see, this is just an example of the types of content we are aggregating. So you'll see here on the headlines in the first column here, you'll see headlines coming from various different mainstream news sources, as well as some of the more independent ones. You'll see blog posts separated out on the right side as well. As you can see, just for the Upper East Side, just within the last 10 hours or less, there's a lot of content going through. And obviously this is on the outside and core site. For on a publisher site, you could curate all of this. So for instance, if you didn't want anything coming from the Gothamist, you could suppress that, you could suppress specific stories. It's very easy to do via our curation dashboard. We're also starting to feature updates. A lot of publishers are asking for tweets as a great complement to kind of the more traditional news headlines. So we're also parsing and geotagging tweets as well.